Hi, welcome to Finding Your Cup, our 12 Stones podcast. I'm so excited to have Kelsey Zottnick with us. So Kelsey has been a customer of 12 Stones Coffee really since the beginning. We were chatting a bit before recording, and I couldn't tell you the exact day she first came in, but I know it was probably pretty much within the first week or two, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't even know I think I just learned of a coffee shop in the neighborhood, and I live down in this neighborhood, so it just became the thing.
Well, and I should mention she's a realtor with Paramount Real Estate, which is just right across the road.
Yes, yeah, it's right across the road. Yep. So
one thing I just want to say about Kelsey is I think we just connected too from the beginning, because if anyone watching that knows Kelsey this would resonate with you, because you're just so easy to talk to. You're always in a good mood. You just carry joy. You're always smiling. She's just someone that you want to talk to, quite frankly.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think it's just always fun, when you come in. After a couple of years of 12 Stones being open, we were able to purchase a home here in Bismarck. We had sold our property in Beulah, and there was no question that we wanted Kelsey as our realtor, and she just went above and beyond. This mug that I'm drinking from today, if you've watched the first couple episodes, you know that the cup I drink from matters. This was a gift, a housewarming gift from her. One of a few. This year when we were putting up our tree again, we had that beautiful personalized ornament that Kelsey had also given us. It's a reminder of the new home that we're in, and also the cutting board
so his name is Jamie, and he's a local woodworker here in Bismarck, and he does custom cutting boards for myself, but it's Cornerstone Woodworking.
It's beautiful. I don't actually use it as a cutting board because I think it's too pretty. I have it displayed in the kitchen. It's so beautifully done, and it so personifies Kelsey's personality, her warmth, and her charity. She's so giving, and like I said, she goes above and beyond. We had so much fun looking at houses. The process just felt so smooth because I think you're just always on top of everything, and our whole family just loved working with you. And I'm gonna highly recommend Kelsey as a realtor.
Well, thank you.
But that's actually not why I'm having her on. Because when we got to know Kelsey more and heard the story of Tracy's Sanctuary House, I'd heard of Tracy's Sanctuary House, but I didn't make the connection until it got to know you. And then when I heard the backstory on it, it's just a story that needs to be told.
Yeah.
And so I want to launch into that. And because I found even talking with people, they might have heard, and know a little bit about Tracy's Sanctuary House.
I think people hear what Tracy's Sanctuary House is, and they have an idea of what we are, but I don't think they really know a lot of times. It's until you're in it and see it, or you come to something and hear someone talk about the need. I don't think you really know what it is. A lot of times we get misrepresented as a homeless shelter or abused adult type resource center or domestic type center. And so I think our name maybe alludes to that, but until they hear why we started Tracy Sanctuary House, then they understand what we are.
So first tell us what Tracy Sanctuary House is, and then we'll go into the backstory.
So Tracy Sanctuary House is a local home here in Bismarck, North Dakota. We are a nonprofit started by my family in memory of my mom, Tracy. It is a hospitality house for families and loved ones who have someone in the hospital. So I would say we were one of the first Airbnbs, because that's pretty much kind of the model we've kind of adopted since inception. But my mom passed away in a motor vehicle accident outside of Barnesville, Minnesota, and I had just gotten dropped off at college, and on the way home, a car accident happened. And so we had a lot of family members travel to her bedside during that time. And we had family members from Flasher and Bismarck and Mandan, all her siblings, me, my now husband was in the accident. So a lot of family members went to Fargo. while she was in the emergency room. And that night after she passed away, we didn't have a place to go. You walk across the street to a hotel, like you kind of have hotels here in Bismarck. And it was kind of like, okay, that chapter's done. Now you just move on, figure out what to do next. It's kind of a sterile environment. So, Tracy Sanctuary House is what we're here to do, is provide like a comforting place to stay while families are going through a medical emergency. And that was kind of the intent to start Tracy Sanctuary House. And in 2025, it is our 20th year of doing this.
That's right. Cause it was
2005. Yeah. In August. So my mom died in August of 2004. The accident happened. They had just dropped me off at college, and on the way home, they deadheaded it back from, Chicago. And on the way home is when the accident happened, right outside of Fargo, Barnesville, Minnesota area. And so my dad immediately started working on Tracy Sanctuary House and this concept. And, by December 8th of 2005, we had our first family home. So we had our 501c3 and the house and all the things set to go.
So I actually just read about that part of the story, because I didn't remember that, like from when we had talked. And I find that so incredible because your dad was in the accident, your younger sister was in the accident, your your now husband was in the accident. And so it's this incredibly traumatic time. And as you mentioned, you lost your mom in that accident. And to me, like, I watched that video on the webpage with your dad talking a little bit about it too. And I think that your family just took something that was so incredibly tragic and immediately, like, turned it into, like, sorry. It makes me tear up because you turned it in, your family turned it into something just incredibly, like, caring and giving to other people immediately, because having just gone through that, like you were talking about, having to be almost in a sterile environment to grieve with other family members, to begin even the healing process. And knowing that you don't want other families to have to experience that. Like, you wanted to change that. So the fact that by December, like, what would that be, like 5 months later?
Well, it was like, so my dad started working on it right away in August of 2004. So about a year.
Okay.
So we looked at every home under the sun next to the hospital. And as you know, in Bismarck, a lot of the homes around the hospital are very old. And so we were looking at everything. And so it took us a little while to find a home, to purchase for Tracy Sanctuary House and do all the things. But the 501c3 was very difficult. We had help from congressmen and the local, senators and things like that, just to help us push that through, because it was right after 9/11. And so after 9/11, there was so many constraints on nonprofits. Just they were, concerned with things. So in 2004, when my dad started applying, there was just more whole, like, loops to go through and things like that. So we did have a lot of help to get that expedited, that process. So,
which is a blessing in and of itself, because anytime you're starting a nonprofit, I know that it takes a lot longer than just opening, like, a for-profit business. Okay, so by December, so just a little over a year later.
Yeah, little over a year,
you were serving your first family.
December 8th of 2005 was our first ever family.
Okay, and since then?
So we're a nonprofit ran by love, and so I don't have a lot of, like, great data. When I took over in 2016, I tried to, like, go back, but so we're averaging around 200 families a year, and then COVID hit, and so that number has went down, how many families we serve, but the length of time we help families. Each individual family is longer. So we are at we're guesstimating around right under 5,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's incredible.
Yeah. So
one thing I wanted to ask you, because a lot of people too are familiar, like, with the Ronald McDonald House.
Yes.
So how do you differ from?
Yeah. So Ronald McDonald House is very, very similar in our kind of what we do. The difference between that organization and ours is that we are for any individual, like it can be any age. So typically Ronald McDonald House is for pediatrics, so 18 and younger. So the individual hospitalized or the patient has to be a child, and then the families that can stay there are mom, dad, grandpa, grandma, so blood relatives. So that's a way we kind of differentiate as well. A lot of times families are not structured that way, or just even caregivers are structured that way. So it can be a neighbor, it can be an aunt, it can be a friend that's helping out this loved one that's in the hospital, or their caretakers. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit too about the house.
Yeah. So, it's 20 years. And so the house is located at 908 North A Street, and by design is by the hospitals. That was the whole goal. We wanted to be walking distance. My family was in a car accident, so we didn't have transportation after the hospital where my mom passed, and so we wanted to be within walking distance. Or if people fly in, we have a lot of families fly in, and so we wanted it to be close. So we're right next to Sanford and CHI and the Bismarck Cancer Center. So you could walk. We're about 5.5 blocks away from all of them. So. And then it is a house. So we have 5 bedrooms and 7 beds. So each room has like a different makeup. And a couple of them can open up to the other bedrooms. So we can kind of help different size family situations or different needs. And then it's come and go as you serve. So like you can come and check in and go to the hospital and stay there. And it's communal. So you share all the common spaces, and then your bedroom has a lock and key. So we can serve 5 families at the same time. Wow. And we have done that. We pretty much max out around three families at a time. It gets a little tight depending on how many members of each family or group that we have in there is. But yeah, we can house different size situations. Now I don't even know what year it was, but one of our police officers in town had passed on the job, and we actually closed the house down and gave the Bismarck Police Department the house to use as kind of their space for all of the deputy sleeper, and for everyone to come in and kind of use that as their coordinating space, and the family members and things like that. And so we've been able to serve different needs in the community.
That's so cool. And and there's a kitchen in there too, right?
Yes.
Full kitchen.
Yeah,
so
we have 2 kitchens, a full laundry room, and then we have a really pretty chapel in the back of the home. Yep. And then the exterior of the home has a really nice backyard, because when you're at a hotel, and especially if you're there for longer than expected or unexpected, you're in like 2 beds right next to each other, and either you're grieving or dealing with something very emotional or traumatic. And so we wanted to give people other spaces and outdoor space and the chapel to be able to utilize at their needs, and then the full service washer and dryer. We don't charge for any of these services. So we wanted to give them kind of a comforting home environment.
How do people go about getting into the Tracy Sanctuary House as far as that process?
So it's been a grassroots effort through the last 20 years. So a lot of times the hospitals will refer people. So in 2016, when I took over as an executive director, I saw a huge need for kind of a tighter referral process. And so we work with the hospitals. So we do have a medical referral form on our website, and the social workers at the hospital have those in their departments. And then any medical staff can refer people. But we do get a lot of churches and police departments and things like that, or just someone who's known someone that's maybe heard about us calls, and then we'll ask for that referral. So anyone that is being seen under the medical umbrella, even if it's appointment-based or a day before a surgery, they can stay at Tracy Sanctuary House. The medical referral is just the first step now for us to just help with the intake process and admitting people. So,
and if I'm understanding correctly, I mean, are you kind of do it all?
Yep. So we're a staff half of one. I am the executive director, and I took over that in 2016. And then we have 7 board members, and a lot of them are family members. And then I have, just small volunteer groups that help with different projects and things like that we do, our fundraising projects, our events, and cleaning at the house and things like that. So.
Yeah. Well, since you mentioned fundraising, we'll go into that a little bit, because Tracy Sanctuary House relies on, it's all donations based. And so the fundraising is very important.
Yes.
And you have your biggest fundraiser of the year.
Yes,
coming up
this January is our 9th year doing, it's called the Winter White Party for a purpose. And so we do this at the North Dakota Heritage Center. And this will be the last few years we've been selling out. It's a Thursday, it's January 23rd, 2025, not 2005, 2025. And so it's a Thursday night. And so what I think is unique about our event, so my mom, Tracy, loved to host parties, throw parties. She had a party business. She owned a flower shop. She just loved to host. And so when the idea of doing a signature event came up, I was like, well, let's throw a party. And so that's what it kind of turned into. When I first started, I didn't want to didn't need to make the most money or raise the most money. It was just I want people to come and celebrate. Yeah. And even when my mom passed, we had a celebration of life. We never really did the traditional things when she passed away and for her memorial service and stuff. So we know even on her gravestone it says, I'll see you at the party or whatever. My dad put balloons on her gravestone because she just loved to party. So host a party, throw a party. And so this is kind of a spin-off of that. I want to just have an event where people want to come to and have a fun night, and it's 2.5 hours, and it's bing bing out of there. It's not a gala where you sit down and listen to a big program. It's literally a social, and you get to come and have some fun and donate back by playing some games or winning a diamond or and just hearing a story from this year. We have Kelsey. She's a social worker at CHI, and she's in the ICU department, and so she's going to tell us how our relationship has developed over the years and how that process works. So. Oh,
that's really cool. Yeah. Troy and I are hoping to make it this year. Yeah. I know the last 2 years we weren't able to make it, but I should mention too that we see Kelsey a lot during this time too, working on planning in the meeting room where we're actually doing this podcast. You and Deidre and you guys both, Deidre too, whenever she comes in, she's just full of life and fun. Yes. So I can always tell they're having a lot of fun putting the party together, but the pictures look amazing, and it always sounds like so much fun. So hoping we can make it this year. Yeah. But I want to go back to, I love that story that you're just telling about, your mom loved to host and throw parties. And when I was reading more about her and everything, the way your mom is described, I only know you, and I just think you sound like you're a lot like your mom. Yeah. And I think
so too. I mean, my mom was 10 times what I am. I just know growing up, every birthday was a huge extravagant event for us. And sometimes I look back, I'm a mom now, and I'm I don't know how she did all those things. So, but she made everything an event. February for Valentine's Day, my car was full of balloons. She'd go to BHS and put balloons in the parking lot. So I'd come out, after school, and my car would be full of balloons. She just made all the events a big deal, and she kind of lived her life like that. So that's something to always remember of I don't think she got caught up in the day to day as much as she loved celebrating people and doing things for people. So yeah,
I see so much of that in you. So I think it's just and just your life is a wonderful tribute, I think, to your mom, you know, and I wish I could have gotten to meet her.
Yeah, I know. She passed away when she was 42. And so it just seems, some days it seems like a lifetime ago, and other days it feels like it was just yesterday. So it's kind of a weird dynamic when you lose someone that close to you, but
yeah. I lost my dad when Elise had just turned 1 a couple days before he passed away, but he was my best friend. And so I think too, it'll be 18 years this summer, and sometimes it doesn't seem like that long ago, and other times, it feels like that long. So much life has happened, right? But you don't ever, like, it's easier, but you don't really ever completely stop grieving, because you just, you just love them so much. And when you're close with them, it's, So.
Yeah, I think that analogy of, like, where, if I remember it correctly, it was like a heart in a jar, and, like, when you're grieving, the jar is really little, and then the jar gets bigger, and I feel like that's, like, life has just gotten bigger, but the grief is still, like, there in the same size, and some days it hits me harder than others. This time of year is always really difficult for me, and so that is always hard. I think it's just a lot of holiday stuff and things like that on top of fundraising season for nonprofits is always fourth quarter, and then the party is in January, so that's always a kind of stressful time of year on top of it. But
I would imagine after the party, like in February, I hope you just take some time.
So typically I disappear in February. So there's Giving Hearts Day in February, and then after Giving Hearts Day, I usually just take some time off, and I don't show back up until March. And my dad and everyone is like, do whatever you need to do. And usually we take a big vacation end of February. So
good. Good. Is that when you took over in 2016? Had your dad been?
Yeah, so there was 5 of us on the board. I was one of the board members, and when I took over in 16, my dad's been the board chair pretty much the whole time. I was doing it part-time, so I was like an executive, I don't know what you would call me, like an assistant, I guess, for part-time. I was just working, I was doing all the check-ins and doing all the things, but I wasn't really working full-time. I was working at another business, and then I had my first child. I was pregnant, and so, like, my goal was, like, I want to do Tracy Sanctuary House full-time, but can we afford to do that? Is that something that, like, paying a salary to an employee, and I needed a salary because I was, having a baby and stuff, and so I had applied to the Otto Bremer Foundation to like kind of launch the launching pad of like a full-time executive director. And I was still working my other job. I went back to work after my maternity leave a little bit, and I got to like the second round of the Otto Bremer. They came out and interviewed me, saw the house, and explained kind of more what we did. And in May, I got the letter, May or June, I got the letter saying that our funding was denied, so the grant was not approved, and that our house was too much of like a hobby organization. And so they gave me some constructive criticism. That was really hard to hear, because I was like, I'm leaving this other job. I'm going to do Tracy's full time. And I met with the Women's Business Center. Actually, that's Deidre and I used to work at a company at the same time, and so that's how I knew Deidre. And then she ended up going to the Women's Business Center, and I actually went over to the Women's Business Center to see how I could launch my career into Tracy Sanctuary House. Like, how can Tracy's pay me? How do I raise money? How do I do all the things? And so they gave me a lot of tools and mentorship. And then when I got that denial from Otto Bremer Foundation, I was just like, okay, well, now what? And so the board met, and they're like, well, we'll guarantee you 1 year of salary if you can figure it out and raise your salary. And we can just go year by year and see what happens. It's very, very scary, to jump off that cliff. And I've never went to school to do this. And so, but I was kind of ready for it, and I just wanted to be able to be home with my kids a little bit more and just kind of be more available than just sitting at a desk from 8 to 5 and having to count my minutes at my desk. So I wanted to just be a little bit more available. And then I was doing Tracy Sanctuary House in the evenings and on the weekends anyways. So
yeah. It's scary launching off into a passion project or a dream, because it was the same, here. Because just a side note, both Kelsey and I have daughters named Elise.
Yes. Isn't that, I feel like there's never any like coincidences. My dad always says there's God instances. Like there's reasons for things and who you meet and like how things connect. So
yeah, I 100% agree. I can constantly see God's hand in the connections that I make here and pretty much everywhere. But yeah, I was going to say when Elise turned 1, and I think having my dad die around that time too, just even though I loved my job, it was a corporate career. I actually worked for a large healthcare system in Omaha where we lived, but it just made me, I don't know, it just made me think about a lot of things. And I wanted to be there for my kids more. So I quit my job about a month after getting back from my dad passing away, but I actually ended up doing freelance writing and doing different stuff still with that health system. And then eventually went to work through connections there for another nonprofit, where I could work from home and kind of have flexible hours, which I really did. Even when we moved back to North Dakota, I took a brief break, but then they called me and said, would I work remotely? So it worked great.
That's pretty nice.
But then their dream of the coffee house was always there, and I just began to work towards that. And then when we moved here, it just really felt like God was saying it's time. It was during COVID, so it was like scary. And I had a hiccup with the bank as well, which kind of made me want to throw in the towel. But our banker, which you know very well too, Jared from Kirkwood, he believed in it, and he really helped the team there that was making the decision believe in it as well. And thankfully, like I said, like Jared really believed. People have faith in you, right? It's important to surround yourself too with people that believe in you and can speak into you and encourage you, because it's always going to be a roller coaster ride.
Yes. Well, and so after we decided, as I had to remove myself from the board and then fill my space, and then I got some really great feedback from the Otto Bremer Foundation. There was a lady there that was like super wonderful to work with, and she gave some great feedback. And so I actually took her feedback. We expanded our board from 5 to 7. We diversified. So a lot of our board members are family, and that was one of their concerns, is that we need to diversify the board a little bit so that it's not like groupthink or just sponsoring a family. And so the thing is, though, I have kind of like it's a double-edged sword, because I feel like the family is the heart of what Tracy Sanctuary House does, and would have never gotten off the ground if my dad and my grandparents and everyone like rallied together. A lot of the furniture in the home are from my home growing up, or my grandma's house where my mom grew up. And so my mom was very creative, and so she made a paper mache like carousel horse, and that's in the house. And so there's just a lot of like family touches in the home. So when I say like most of the board's families, because the house would not be here after 20 years if it wasn't family, because they were pretty much the blood, sweat, and tears of Tracy Sanctuary House. And so we did diversify the board a little bit. So we have 7 board members. And then we did a strategic planning session, and then I just like applied for every grant, everything that year, just to kind of launch us. And then that next year is when I started the Winter White Party. Like I was like, we need a signature fundraiser, you know. And then I just worked really closely with the hospitals and just boots on the ground of like trying to get our name out there, because people didn't know what Tracy Sanctuary House was. people from Bowman or some of the rural towns that use us a lot knew through word of mouth or the hospitals, but like locally Bismarck didn't really know, because the families that we help are not necessarily people living in Bismarck. They're people living outside of Bismarck, Mandan, that are utilizing our hospital systems. And so it's twofold. You need the people in Bismarck to know what we are, so that they can help support us in the community. And then what we're doing is helping families from a lot of the rural markets that don't have the hospital systems. Williston, Watford City, all the way out to Montana, Sydney, Montana, down to South Dakota. We've had people from all over the United States stay with us too. But we needed kind of like the local community to know about us a little bit more. So just like brand awareness and our nonprofit awareness. And so I started the social media and all the things that we didn't have at the time. Yeah. So those have all grown. But yeah.
Which is great. Like social media, I always say I have a love-hate with it.
Yes.
Yes. When you have a business or a nonprofit, it's a necessity. You have to have it. And it's a great way to get things out for no cost.
Exactly.
But it's just always like learning curve.
Yes, and they always change it, and like all the algorithms change. And then I don't know if you've seen all those like contents that are like, I didn't realize when I was a business owner I was also going to be like a content creator and a videographer and a podcaster and all these things, right, that you get yourself into. And so that's something that is funny, because you just kind of take on a lot of other roles when you become a business owner or just a one-man show.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's always, it's definitely a labor of love. And if it's not something you're passionate about, don't do it, because you're going to need that love and passion for it to get you through, right?
Yes, exactly. I actually have a lot of, I am very passionate about Tracy Sanctuary House, and I tell people all the time about it. But I meet with a lot of the other nonprofits, and I always tell them I don't think I'd ever work at another nonprofit, because I think you just have to have a very innate passion for whatever you're doing or helping. And not saying I wouldn't be able to, but it's running a nonprofit is very hard. Fundraising is really hard. Seeing the families that come through and the situations are very hard. And so you have to have kind of like an internal drive to keep going, because you do definitely go through the ups and downs, and I do that some days. So
because something you just said, that the people that come to stay at Sanctuary's house, like there's a lot of difficult situations, and you're basically the person that's there greeting them, correct? Like it's you, and so you're kind of you are such a, like, you're by nature such a warm and caring person, but like you do have to, you have to, how do I want to say, you have to do that without carrying it with you constantly. Yes. And I think whenever that's the double-edged sword of it. When you're a caring person and you have a lot of empathy, it's hard sometimes to like disconnect and well, and then of course I would imagine sometimes it even brings up your your own grief and what you walked through. And
so last year, maybe not last year, the year prior. So the year prior, so we have a friend who went through, he was diagnosed with cancer, and it was a long, very long cancer journey, very, very intricate. He did everything. He fought every day of his life, just to prolong his life and to be with his kids. He died, last 2 February, it'll be 2 Februarys ago this February. So, but he went to Mayo, and his wife lives in Mandan, and we actually featured them in our newsletter this year. And so I never would have thought it to come full circle, but his family were living in Colorado. And so when towards the end of his journey and they couldn't really do anything more, he had gotten admitted into the hospitals local here, and his family from Colorado came up, and and stayed with us for quite a few weeks around the holidays, and from like November through February, and they were able to like utilize our house as their own, especially when he went into his like end of life care, when he went back into home hospice. And so that was very difficult for a lot of us, because I get to see and hear and help people that are maybe not that connected to us, but like you do have the empathy. But when it becomes like my husband's like best friend, and he's dying from cancer, and helping his parents, and then, you know, his brother and his wife and their kids came and stayed with us, and they utilized the home as a second home, so that, you know, Phil and Stacey could have their home life too, so they weren't up into their home all the time. So that was really difficult, but that whole journey has really been eye-opening, that like I never would have thought, like, from where I was at to like the full circle moment of like having to help one of our own family members and our own friends and their families. So yeah.
But that's such an incredibly hard thing, but what a incredible blessing. I mean, just like you were saying, that they were still able to have like their own home and their own space, but then have this other Tracy Sanctuary House where
yeah, and so Stacey wrote in her little note this year, I had her story in our newsletter that went out, and she just wrote like some of Phil's favorite meals, like his dad would go back to Tracy's and cook them and bring them into the hospital while he was still in the hospital, and things like that. And so like those little things are really why Tracy's Sanctuary House exists, because you really need to have a place for people to kind of either rest, relax, just take a shower even, and then fill their cup before they can go back to the hospital and caregiving for their family members. There's statistics all over about how having an advocate with you while you're going through something, either cancer treatment or just like a traumatic, you know, surgery or anything like that, the length of stay in the hospital is a lot shorter when you have someone there advocating and just being with you. A couple of years ago, we had a NICU mom. Her baby came in from Williston. Her baby was born at like 24 weeks, and just like on that viability threshold, and she was from Williston, and she's like, there's no way I would have been able to stay. I think she stayed for 12 to 13 weeks with us, and she's like, there's no way I would have been able to do that. And her nurses attribute that she was there every single day. That baby heard her voice every day, even if she couldn't touch it, until he got strong enough. And just having her scent and her voice in there like helped that baby. And they were able to go home right before Christmas, and they attributed all the time that if she would have just been here on the weekends or whatever, it would have been harder for that baby to continue to thrive. So. Oh, yeah,
absolutely. And for her to have to, like, if she wouldn't have been able to be there every day, I can't even imagine being any separation. Do you know what I mean? To only be
and there is people who do that. You know, they have a loved one in the hospital, and they're like, well, I can't afford to. A lot of times, like, one stays and one, you know, the husband goes back and works or whatever. And so, like, in her instance, her husband was still working, and so he had to go back to work, but her mom, the grandma, came and stayed with her during all of it. So that was helpful to them too, to have her have a support for her too. So
those are the stories that like just make, I'm sure, get you through like the days,
the hard days. You have to remember the people you serve. And my dad is really, really good about saying, like, I'll get kind of caught up in like, okay, do we have enough money? Are we doing enough? Are we serving enough people? Do we need to do this? Do we need to do that? And he's always like, are we serving the mission? And I'm like, yes. And then he's like, okay, that's all that matters. And he is at a point where he's like, if the house closes tomorrow, like, then it's God's timing. So, I'm not quite there yet. I get emotional about it. And so, but he's always like, if it's meant to be, it will stay open and God will provide. And that I have to always remind myself at this time of year, when you're competing with fundraising dollars and you see all the other nonprofits and, you know, even like Giving Hearts Day, it's hard not to get caught up in all of that. And so you have to just remember, are we helping the people that we need to help? And, that answer immediately is yes. So, that makes me feel good that my father has that outlook on it too, is that it's, it's a season. It doesn't have to be a lifetime.
Yeah. Because you need that reminder. And I love that, like that question, are we fulfilling our mission? And as long as the answer is yes, then so that's really good. I like that. Well, since we were talking a little bit about fundraising and it's fundraising season, I know we talked about the Winter White Party, and of course people can buy tickets to that and support in that way, but on a day-to-day, like, tell us what anybody listening how they can help.
So there's multiple ways. Just awareness, that is a huge one. There's so many people, we've been around for 20 years, but there's still people who don't know about us. And so, like rural towns and churches and just like ambassadors to what Tracy Sanctuary House does actually has helped us the most, is just like talking about what we do and what our services are offered. But also like the house itself is a physical home. So we provide everything for an emergency night stay. So they come, a lot of times we've had people who like ride up on an emergency ambulance and, forget their purse or whatever. So they, so we provide everything for emergency night stay. So the house is fully furnished. We do stock the cupboards with non-perishable food items. The best items for that get utilized most are like breakfast, snacky type food, easy things. If they're at the hospital all day long, they don't necessarily want to come home and make a hamburger helper. And we don't keep, milk and all the things on hand usually. So usually it's like soup at hands or easy things that can like be made quickly. But we have a fully furnished kitchen, so people can like cook big meals. And when we do have families staying there, they do cook meals. So they'll get groceries and stuff. And then just like light bulbs and all the things that you would need, cleaning supplies, toilet paper, other things that we need for the home. And then we have a list on our website. So that is pretty much up to date as much as possible for the house. So.
And that website, it's
www.tracy'ssanctuary.com or .org. We have both, but tracysanctuary.com. And so, we have like a website on like how to support us, out there too. And then just like, obviously there's financial needs we have a mortgage and a utility bill and all of the different needs. Even at our fundraiser that's coming up, we have a big puzzle, and you can buy a puzzle piece for the house. And so that just shows all of the needs.
So cool.
One is like mowing, like we want to sponsor 1 month of mowing or 1 month of utilities, or if you want to buy a couple boxes of the light bulbs. So we've put all of these in a puzzle piece, and then hopefully as the night goes on, people will pick up a puzzle piece. And there's things from $25 all the way up to, our mortgage, which is, actually, our mortgage isn't the most expensive thing, but like sponsoring a family for, a month or things like that. So, so it's kind of nice but it is, those are hard fixed costs that we need to kind of keep the house going and running. So.
Well, and I was going to say, I loved on the website too that it lists out like what dollar amount it takes to sponsor like a family for one night or whatnot.
So it cost us, just like if the house is empty today, it's $250. If it's full tomorrow, it's $250. Obviously the utilities will go up and down depending on the people. But so we don't charge families who are in an emergency situation. We suggest a $25 a night fee. We do require a $50 key deposit now, just as kind of they get it back returned when they check out, but just to help with some of the incidentals that might come up during their stay, if something does happen, but it's pretty minimal. And then if they're long-term, so a lot of times if someone's coming for chemo or dialysis treatment, they're about 3 to we will go up to 6 weeks for someone staying, and they can stay for $15 a night. So 1 month is about $450 for that family member to stay. So we've had a lot of dialysis patients, chemo patients, radiation patients stay while they're seeking treatment at the hospitals.
Okay. Well, and I want to mention that 12 Stones Coffee is going to become a drop site for donation items for Tracy Sanctuary House. And so you can go to the website, tracysanctuary.com, and any of those items in that list of needs can be dropped off at 12 Stones Coffee, and then I can get them to Kelsey, or she'll pick them up. And I noticed one of the big things too on there, which is really easy to get to, is gift cards, right? Like to Target, Walmart.
Yeah. So that's twofold. Some of it's like gift cards for like what we need at the house. Like last week I had to go buy a new toilet. What do you call it? Seat.
Oh, yeah.
It was broke, right?
Yeah.
So it would have been nice to have like a Menards gift card or something like that, to buy something like that was kind of unexpected. But also we do like give gift cards to the families that are staying in the home a lot. So a couple weeks ago we had an individual in the home, and they were a perfect candidate with some children, that we gave them some gift cards to like Grand Junction and some of the restaurants in town, just because having a couple children, it was a 6 and a 7-year-old, and kind of keeping them busy and going back into the hospital, it's a lot. So giving them an additional outlet to like go, utilize one of the services in town, or just one of the restaurants, or going out to eat versus eating at the home or at the hospital, it kind of gives them a different headspace too.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome. Well, I love what you're doing.
Well, thank you.
And you inspire me. You have, like, since I met you, and just knowing even more about your story. I just find it incredibly encouraging and inspiring.
Well, I always say 12 Stones is my local coffee shop, so my neighborhood coffee shop. So if you see me, usually I'm here. But I just enjoy like the camaraderie. I love walking in and knowing people and seeing so many friendly faces, and I love coffee, so that helps too. But yeah.
Well, that means a lot, because it means we're fulfilling our mission.
Yeah.
I have to ask you, did your mom like coffee?
You know what? I don't ever remember her drinking coffee. So that's something. My dad's not a coffee drinker either. And so
I know your sister is.
My sister is.
Because you guys meet here.
Yes. And I don't know if it was like coffee wasn't as like fun, I don't think. Growing up, like I don't remember coffee shops being the thing, so
especially not here in North Dakota.
Yeah. So I don't know. That must be a good question to ask my dad, but I don't think so. I don't remember her ever really drinking it. So
now that you say that, there wasn't a huge like coffee house culture here in North Dakota till really in the last I don't know. What I love that I see in Bismarck in the last 20 years or so, or probably not even that long, is we have some great independent coffee houses that are really going back to what coffee houses were supposed to be, like great coffee and great community. Really, when coffee houses began, even when Starbucks began in Seattle, it was really about that coffee house feel, a place to get just great quality coffee and to have a community. Yeah. And so that was really something we're passionate about. That's something we are passionate about.
Yeah.
I should say. Yeah.
When I feel like that is definitely here. So 12 Stones, I do frequent it often, but I always seem like I know someone, and it's become kind of like you get to know people and the people around it, and the stories, and get to see people. And I had someone, a mentor, that used to say, like, you never just like go through the drive-through at the bank, you walk in and things like that. And I do take that with me. And so, you do start to meet people and like really like build a community.
Yeah.
So.
And I should mention, it's kind of cool because, your in-laws are in every day, almost every day, I think, and have been since the beginning. But what's funny is I'm trying to remember when I made the connection that they were your in-laws, you know, and it probably was it when we started looking for a house and I mentioned who our realtor is, and they,
maybe,
or was it before then? I don't know. It was just sort of funny. Yeah. Because I love your in-laws too. They're awesome people. Yeah.
They always know all the ins and outs of your staff and what they're doing and who's working. And I'm like, they tell me usually, like, did you hear so-and-so is going on a mission trip? I'm like, no, I didn't. So they love to know all the things.
Yeah. So. Well, we love them. And, we try really hard. If your father-in-law watches, Bruce, we do try really hard never to be out of time. But no, he's always understanding. We ran out a couple times. We've even put like if we know we're going to run out, we'll put some aside if we can remember. And we're like, this is for Bruce.
Yes. Yes, he is very specific on what type of chai he likes. So,
but yeah, it's just, but that's why we love what we do, because we have gotten to know, you know, a lot of your family. Because your sister-in-law comes in too, and your sister, I don't know them as well, because I don't talk to them as much, but but I love it because I recognize.
Yes. It's nice. It's really nice because it's like in our neighborhood too. So it's really nice. Yeah.
Well, we love that we could be a spot in the South. I mean, we hear that from other people that live in the southern part of Bismarck, that, it's so nice to have a place to go and to sit. And so we love it. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Anything else that you want to say before we sign off?
No, I don't think so. I think just, you know, our tickets are still on sale for the Winter White Party. And so definitely come out and see and just have fun. It's just a fun night. It's not really, you do have to wear white though. So that's something, we're not super fancy. Some people wear white sweater with jeans. So it's not, but then there will be some people in really fancy white dresses. But yeah, it's kind of, just kind of come hang out with us and learn more about us.
Okay, awesome. And again, the website is tracysanctuary.com.
Yep.
You can find how to get tickets.
Yep. Right on the homepage, there's a link to the tickets and the event. There's also a link on like how to stay with us and like the referral process, and then how to support us and donate.
Awesome. Thanks, Kelsey.
Yeah, thank you.
And thanks everyone for listening or watching. And remember to find your cup, fill it with people that feed your vision, and always drink good coffee. Thanks.